And okay, I think we're live. So we are. What is it today? It's the 26th. Hey, you know what? It's funny actually. So whatever, it doesn't actually matter. But and you can hear from my earbuds, right? So like you can still hear me.
Uh, yeah, I can hear you clearly now.
Okay, great, cool. So yeah, so what we're gonna do today is we're gonna work on. Honestly, the MetCon is gonna be a little bit more proactive. Recovery based. Sid had a bit of a muscle strain last time, and so I really want to prevent that from happening in the future. I want to tune in more with him, and I also want to have a little bit more. Not everyone comes to working out with intensity like with a blank slate. In fact, most people don't by the very nature of living in modern life. So I'm going to be kind of biasing us more towards prevention and actually like better improved posture and myofascial adhesion release and technique. And so today, actually, what we're going to do is skip the strength component, and we'll just go right into we'll go right from kind of where we are on the recovery side of things and go into a metcon. The metcon will still be difficult. You will certainly get a good workout, but we'll bias it more towards. Actually, what I'm excited about doing is doing a little bit more of those technique and stability muscle groups today in the workout. So as you can see right now, for the kind of on the left side, you can see that too, right, Sid? Cool. We got some mashing. We're gonna kind of work throughout the body. We're gonna do some SA work. That stands for serratus anterior work. We're gonna do some Superman work. The reason for that is basically we want to kind of open up those shoulders and then also strengthen the back muscles, especially the rhomboids. That this is all gonna help us go from like a leaned over position to like a strong position here, um, and then finally we're going to do some single leg hip bridges. And so what that's going to do is basically help us with a lot of people have our we've got really tight hips. We've got also kind of tight hip flexors. Um, the side of our quads are also tight, and so a lot of times what we have is we don't have the neurological kind of training to be able to use our hips correctly. And so a lot of times we have either our posture shifts or whatever. And so what we're going to do is kind of some work on realigning how the hips work. And then in the metcon we're going to do single leg deadlifts, which will kind of, it'll be like a more strenuous version of that. We're going to do some inverse palm push-ups. When I say inverse palm, I'm saying instead of this, we're going to go like this. This is going to help kind of accentuate some of the things that we're trying to do on the posture side of things. And then we're going to do some V-ups, and those are kind of like a core stability kind of thing. Does that make sense, Sid? Cool, man. All right, so let's and it rained, and I haven't gotten a tarp yet, so I got to get a tarp at some point in the next little bit here. So apologies if it just looks like a disaster, because it was a disaster until like yesterday when it stopped raining. But cool. So let's go ahead and we're gonna just do some founder kind of I call them stretches. They're not really stretches. Founder position. Yeah, we'll say position. And we'll kind of just go right into it. All right. Wide stance, externally rotating the arms up, hinging forward as much as we possibly can. That's our starting position. And then we're going to just go down, kind of allow, you want to just kind of allow yourself to drape here. Maybe wiggle the hips and kind of just let your hips go. Coming back up again, we're going to do 5 of these, 5 in the center, 5 on the left, 5 on the right. So we're down, up. Legs are relatively straight here. Awesome. And then on the pick a side, same thing here, hinging forward, keeping the weight on the back or on that front glute, and then on that hamstring as well. pivoting to the other side when you're done with those. Awesome. When you're finished with that, we're just gonna kind of go ahead and we'll do a little kind of Jefferson curls. It doesn't have to be with any weight. If you want to use weight, you can. But the Jefferson curls, you know, if you were gonna use weight, would be, you know, like 5-10 pounds. It's not gonna be much. So I'm just gonna take this 10-pound plate, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stand, basically, rolling my shoulders forward, rolling my, you know, hips, basically every vertebrae at a time, like one at a time, just kind of rolling down, keeping my legs straight. And basically this is like a crappy deadlift, right? We are really trying to just strengthen up those back stabilizing muscles, the multifidus muscles, and just working our spine throughout its entire range of motion. And so we'll do, you can do a few in the middle. You can then also go if you want to. And by the way, if you don't want to do any weight at all, totally great idea as well. But then I'll go ahead and go to the right side or to the left side, right? And once again, flexing to either side is going to help my spine just kind of loosen up a bit. If you find, you know, that there's potentially some pain on any of this, you know, just kind of go till whatever the depth at which the pain starts, and then, you know, just kind of hang out either there or slightly above it. If the middle one feels less painful than any of the other ones, great, go for it. We want to kind of work the range of motion as much as we can, you know, within a reasonable amount of, you know, pain tolerance. I mean, some aches and, you know, pains are going to happen, and it is nice to kind of stretch those out, but we don't want to be in agony here. Great. All right, let's just go ahead and kind of increase the blood flow a little bit more as well. We're just going to go ahead and do 15 squats. So all the way down, all the way back up. Chest up high. And then we'll do some inchworms after that, get those shoulders a little bit more loosened up too. So whenever you're ready, we're gonna just kind of do some inchworms. Legs are straight, we're walking our hands out into a push-up position, all the way down, all the way up. Walking the hands up, or walking the feet up I should say, standing up, and then back the other way. Push up. Now let's do 5 of these. All right, when we're done with that, actually, you know what? Yes, what we're going to do is actually just a few mountain climbers. So you're going to go into a deep lunge. You can have that back leg on the ground. If you'd like to kind of have a little bit more challenge, you know, pull it up a bit and straighten your leg. And we're going to just kind of do some rotations here. So elbow as close as you possibly can to get to the ground, and then up, externally rotating your arm as well. So we'll do, like, let's just say 3 kind of arm rotations on each side. So we'll do this, switch legs, 3 on this side, and let's do that for three reps of each side total. Bonus points if you want to kind of rotate that hip out as well and put some pressure as well to externally rotate that leg. Great. Okay. So today I want to talk a bit about the serratus anterior, and you know what? For whatever reason, this USB camera isn't as great. So I'm going to go like this. So I actually just have this one. Because I want you to be able to see shadow a little bit more. So I'm going to just take my shirt off and kind of show you guys what like the serratus anterior muscle is. This is important because a lot of people don't have a well-activated serratus anterior. And I'm going to show you guys 2 kind of things here. So the first is going to be the bad way. The second way is going to be the good way. And so I'm just going to see how much shadow. Good, there's like a good amount of shadow because I want everyone to be able to see like how the shoulder blades wing or not wing. So let me just share with you what a winging is. So as you guys can see, when I have my arm behind my back, or maybe this one is an easier way to see it. When I got my arm behind my back, my shoulder blade is kind of coming away from my body, right? And especially in this position, right? Like my shoulders rotated forward, right? And so what happens when I rotate my shoulder is just and let's just say that this position is for most people how we live our lives, right? You can also see, you know, like a head is relatively forward, and you know my chest is not like up or whatever. And so it's, in a lot of ways, not actually a powerful position. The other thing as well is, what's interesting is, chest up has been shown from a neurological standpoint to be, to release basically serotonin, which is like something that's going to improve your confidence. And so what we've seen is that people asserting a confident pose has a positive feedback loop. So a lot of times people, you know, don't actually have as much confidence, and so one way to actually create more confidence in yourself is to adapt or adopt a confident, position, pose, right? And so we can't do that though if we're sitting on a computer all day and training our body not to act properly. So one of the things that we need to do. So I'm just going to show you once again like what bad looks like, and here's how you can kind of like see what bad looks like. Notice how I'm going to just use this as an example. I'm gonna have this guy up overhead. So okay, you notice how when I'm kind of going like this, can you see how it may be hard to see, and I don't know actually if I well, I'll actually just do this. This is bad. This is good. Bad. Good. Sid, can you see that? And maybe you can see it better if it's here. Bad?
Yeah.
Good. Can you see that like in the bad one, my shoulder blades are winging. And what that means is that they're coming away from the body. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and go slightly to the right. It's a better angle there.
Like this?
Yeah, go ahead. Sydney.
Sydney?
Yeah.
Brian.
Hi. Yeah. No problem, Brian. Huh?
So
Yeah.
so can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what we want to be able to do, and actually I'm going to just show this really quickly on the app, or sorry, on my, yeah. So, how do I think I have got my cell phone already plugged in. I'm going to add that, good, and then I'm going to add, my cell phone is not plugging in, the actual cable itself. There we go. Oh, Jesus, what the hell's happening? Whatever, it doesn't matter. Boop. All right, you guys can see my anatomy app up here, right? Is that right? You can see that, Sid?
Yep. Yep. Perfectly.
All right. So here's the body. We're gonna just fill in a few muscles. Actually, we're gonna fill in all the muscles right now, right? So this is your whole body. Well, not your whole body, but this is your shoulder. And so ideally what we want to have is something that's more, we don't want to have this kind of bent over position. We want to actually have a more, the shoulder is in its right place, its correct position. And so the big issue with this is that there's two things for people. And by the way, I'm not perfect yet. Like, as you can see, I still kind of have a bit more like a default sort of like not up position. I don't have, I'm still working with a shortened deltoid. It takes, several months to kind of work through these problems, and yet, because they take several decades to set in, right? So we're not going to just expect that over the course of 2 weeks or whatever we're going to fix our problems. So we got to, though, in order to fix the problems, we got to make sure that we're like working on them quite often. So anyway, I don't want to get too much into this, but I'm going to hide the lats, or sorry, the traps. I'll also hide the lats. So the muscles, though, that actually should be holding our body in place, or our shoulders in place, should not be the traps. Those were the ones I took away on the top. We shouldn't be, slouching here and therefore having the traps hold, my shoulders in place. What I should be having hold my shoulders in place are two muscles. These guys, these are the rhomboids, and these guys, these are the serratus anterior. So on me, you can see them here. These are the ones that look like rib muscles in a way, or muscles along the ribs, right? So you can see that on here. Now, you'll notice as well that my lats cover them too, right? Right here, like these are the lats that are the big muscles that I had to hide in order to show the serratus anterior. But like when they're off, so when I'm turning them on, right, you can see these muscles flex more pronounced than if I kind of go loose on them. Do you see that, Sid?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, this is actually great, and they're lining up perfectly. It's very easy to see.
Here we go. This is a better angle. So we can see them in the front here. I'm going to, boop, using them, not using them. right? Turning them on, turning them off. Bruce Lee is famous for these ones. Made these muscles famous. And so this is an important muscle that we need to have. That said, we often don't have them on because we don't know what they are. We don't have the proprioception to be able to be like, when I raise this thing in front of me, this is this cell phone. It's like, do I honestly know which muscles I'm using to raise my cell phone? Most people obviously don't, right? We know, yeah, I've got a shoulder muscle up here, I got a bicep, but all this crap back here is totally, foreign to us, even though it's our own body. We just don't see it, and it's complicated. But we're gonna kind of work on these things, and so I don't want to get too much into the rabbit hole today. But what I did want to just show that to you, because this is an issue. This is that like literally, I would guess somewhere between 60 and 90% of people on planet Earth, Western civilization has right now, because of the way that we sit in chairs all day, and with not good posture, and that basically creates a situation where this serratus anterior is never on, this deltoid is always shortened, this trap gets a lot more of the weight on us than we need to, or than we want it to be. We're pulled forward, and so we end up having different muscles. For instance, this, right? I'm going to get the deltoids out of the way here. So boop. Now we can see more of the shoulder, or we can see actually some of the kind of rotator cuff, right? So we got some of these things. Infraspinatus, we got the teres minor, and then we got the teres major over here. So these ones, right, because if my deltoid is full forward, it's slouched forward, now I literally have to use, instead of, this guy, the serratus anterior, and the rhomboid holding my shoulder in place, the thing that's going to hold my shoulder in place is the traps, which shouldn't be, so they're going to be overdeveloped. And then these muscles here, which are definitely not meant for that. So these are the rotator cuffs, and so a lot of people have rotator cuff issues, and so that's what we're going to deal with. So what we do when we mash with like a lacrosse ball is we're going to kind of break up a lot of these myofascial adhesions. I also, as you can see, do a lot of cupping. And number 3, I guess, is actually strengthen these muscles here. So we're just going to get right into it. I don't want to kind of belabor us too much, but was that helpful, Sid?
Yeah, supremely. And I love how you introduced the muscle app. It certainly helps.
Yeah, sounds good, man. I love it too. And it's super simple. I mean, it's like a $3 app, like anyone can get. It's called Essential Anatomy 5, if you want to, Google that one, or I guess on the App Store. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. So Sid doesn't have what I'd love to have is actually a one of these guys, but we don't have one of those right now, which is fine. We can do it, a couple other ways. But what I want to do is actually make this thing tired. I want to allow people to feel what it feels like to turn this serratus anterior on and off, because you probably have never really thought about isolating these at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of imagine that we're creating a bit of a triangle. We're going to kind of like, for whatever reason, a Christmas tree comes to my mind, where it's like, this is where it starts at the top. And so what we can do is, I'm actually just going to position this to the wall. So I'm going to do this on the wall. This is my, unfortunately, less flat wall than I would have liked. So, against a wall, I'm coming up here, okay? So, and you don't have to have a wall, but it's helpful because you can make sure that you're getting all the way back, okay? So, fingers pointed or touched at the top above your head, and then basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to close my arms, kind of flap my wings here, and then actually position my elbows so that they're touching each other. This is difficult, okay? So what this does is it forces, especially when my elbows are up, it forces my serratus anterior to work. You can see this actually when I do this, right? You can see, boom, like those muscles, here are actually working. Now what you can do as well is kind of like pronate your hands or kind of point your palms towards you as well. So what we're going to do is like 10 of these, okay? You can do it. Some other people kind of go like this, where they're putting their fingers kind of towards your face. I like overhead because research has shown that this activates the serratus anterior muscle more when you are actually having it when the arms are higher overhead. What you'll notice as well is that if you are actually like a more experienced lifter, you know, if you've ever kind of been told by your coach, oh, you know, keep your elbows forward in front when you're doing like a press, this is the reason why. We actually want to have this serratus anterior engaged. They may not have known that, but like that's important. And skipping that part of things is oftentimes what we do. How is this? And this is probably going to be pretty damn hard. In fact, you may not even be able to touch your elbows to each other. Sid, how are you doing on this one?
Yep, I'm good.
Good. Cool. Are you feeling it?
Mm-hmm.
Sweet. So now, what I want you to do, we're going to rest for a second, and then we're going to do another set of this. Once we do this, the next time, I want us to kind of feel, what is it like to feel this motion, this muscle, right? Can you, and I'm just going to show this, you know, as an example. This is, if I'm just turning these on by themselves, without anything else, right? I'm just isolating that. It's going to look something like this. Okay, so I'm going to kind of, and here's another movement. Now, unfortunately, I shouldn't be doing just those when I'm so you can see here, well, maybe here a little bit. Unfortunately, the shadow is hard to see. So when I do just this, it basically flattens the serratus anterior against my back, or sorry, my scapula against my back. But I need something to pull the arms back again, right? I need something to pull them back, and that's where the rhomboids came in. And if you guys recall that muscle group that I had highlighted, sort of attaching the inside of the scapula to basically the spine. So we need both of those in order to in order to stabilize us. And so what we're going to try to do is actually adopt that posture. Now you'll notice as well, when I do adopt this posture, this is technically accurate, but it looks ridiculous. Why does it look ridiculous? Well, it's because I don't actually have incredibly, like I'm still working on my own muscles, right? For instance, like this here, like this is, I'm now in an accurate shoulder position. So my shoulders are now not drooped here forward. You can see this. They're better, and actually, so is my chest position. But I kind of have this like super bro stance here, and the reason why is because I actually have very shortened deltoids and also shortened biceps, which basically mean that until I kind of work out all those myofascial adhesions and I lengthen these muscles, I am actually going to have a position that looks wrong but is correct. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are going to have this as well. So we're going to address that in a different way, and probably not in this video, because I want you to have your materials first. But okay, so then the other thing what we're going to do is I want to kind of practice some push-ups here. So do you feel like Sid, did you feel like you were able to feel this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And do you feel it like in here, like almost underneath the
mm-hmm.
It should kind of feel almost like in the same location as the lat, but if you were to actually pinch your lat here, it's gonna be soft because the lats are not being used right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's underneath the lats. Cool. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to talk about push-ups. Push-ups are one of those things where they're actually really difficult to do correctly if you are used to a position that is not correct. So, and which most people have, right? And it's fine. There's nothing, there's nothing wrong per se with you're, but it's probably more an indication of society. and how we move or don't. Okay, so I'm going to show you a bad position, a bad push-up versus a good position. Okay, so, and I'm going to try to get this on camera. It's a bit hard to do. One of the hard parts about coaching is actually coaching push-ups, because most people don't have any proprioception awareness. What the word proprioception means is, you know, the ability to have awareness of where your muscles are in space and how you're using them without looking at them. This is just a felt sense. You know, I can, with my eyes shut, I know that my hand is out in front of me, you know, to the right, for instance. Now, exactly which muscles I'm using in my back, I may not have the proprioception for that, but we're going to be developing it over time by practice. So I'm going to just start here. See if you can, Sid, and I know this is hard to do, but so when we're just kind of in these all fours position, right, we're going to see, can I actually wind up my serratus anterior such that I actually hold my kind of my serratus anterior like close to the body, basically hold the scapula close to the body so it doesn't move. And I'm going to use those same muscles that I just activated. So if you can remember how that felt to use those muscles, see if you can do that. So like this is bad. You can see that I'm kind of winging right now. This is good. Bad, good. And so it may actually make sense even to just practice, even what bad looks like, so you can feel, what does it feel like to do things incorrectly? Because the reality is, like, during the middle of a workout, you may actually not have the presence of mind to know, and it's nice to kind of practice what they feel like beforehand. So do you feel like you're able to kind of isolate this to an extent?
Yeah, I feel like my shoulders are winging, but then I can pull them down. Yeah, like right now it's activated. It feels like.
Yeah. This is hard to do as well, because the reality is most coaches are just like, oh, pull your elbows in, which is cool, but honestly there's like 3 ways you can do that from a muscular standpoint, and like 2 of them are wrong in terms of what we're actually going for right now. So, you know, and so sure, people also talk about push-ups with a plus. I think they're also not really a good way to do it, frankly. I think the one thing that is nice here is if we were to do actually, this is what we'll do, actually. So Sid, if you can, what we're going to do is, we're going to go into kind of like a down dog position, okay? So down dog, here, all right? So I'm kind of, elbows are you know, hips up. And now from here, I'm going to rotate my arms so that my elbows are up. And now from here, I'm going to press my kind of scapula up. I'm going to kind of push away and back down, using my shoulder blades here to push rather than anything else, right? So my arms are straight the whole time. And this is actually going to use my serratus anterior. Trying to make sure to keep that like tight the whole time, because the serratus anterior actually rotates the shoulder blade up and forward. So up and forward. This is activated. This is not. Let me just look at you how it's going, and see if you can rotate your arms so that your elbow pits are facing up. Yeah. Really using the muscles in your shoulder to wind up the elbows, right?
Yeah. Yeah, slowly just building that proprioception, as you said.
Yeah.
So if I come down like this,
so if you want to look at me for a second, I think actually this could be a decent, you know, view, right? So we're here. So this is bad, where like I'm not, like if I was to go like here, I'd be, notice that I'm winging, right? Winging, bad, good, right? So I'm really pulling this up, and these are my serratus anterior. You can see them flex here. But what that also does is it kind of slightly pulls, rotates this internally. So it's not just about, rotating this, but it certainly helps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're going to do that a few more times here. It's kind of just in this down lower dog position. Go up and down. You don't need to be all the way pressed forward because you're actually going to be using different muscles when you're all the way pressed forward. But just almost like an incline push-up, as if you were doing an incline bench press. Let's see if we can get done like a 10 reps or so. This is going to be hard, by the way. Like if you're not used to using your serratus anterior, which like 90% of humans aren't, well, Western humans aren't, like you're going to find it surprisingly difficult. The other thing that's going to be nice as well is when you do this, to kind of feel, do I know when my traps are doing the work, or do I know when my rhomboids are doing the work? You're going to feel, hey, do I feel a ton of tension in these traps? If so, especially when you're just standing, or when you're just like sitting, developing that proprioception is going to be really key. If you want to develop your proprioception more, do some psilocybin. And we'll have some videos on that too. So cool. Now what we're gonna do is I want to kind of still use this. So if we're now kind of tired here, we've warmed this muscle up, right? And ideally though we also want to be able to kind of pull it back, using the rhomboids. So what we're going to do is actually more, normal push-ups were here, but also a lot of people kind of like wing the shoulders in normal push-ups, as you can see here. They'll do something like this, but we want to be here. Or what they'll do is they'll be here with rounded shoulders at the bottom of a push-up, and then they'll come up here at the top. That's not what we want. We actually want us to be here the whole time. We want us to be, not winged, so that this creates a solid platform the entire time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do in order to do that is actually invert our hands. So this is prone, this is supine. We're going to do supine position. And so what we'll do here, these are going to be hard, is to rotate that we can, but we're going to rotate and you don't have to be like all the way 180 degrees different, but something like to this extent where, you maybe have your thumbs pointed out, 90 degrees or so. This is something kind of that's good, and then from here, and you can also do this from the knees, right? Because this is a difficult movement because you're now using. Actually, I want to kind of say just a second about that. For most people, when we are in a forward slouch position, notice what happens to the deltoids. So the deltoids are now rolling forward, and so normal deltoids, correctly positioned deltoids, should be, if the shoulder is back, we should be using the front of our deltoids more. But when we're rotated forward, we're actually using the middle of our deltoids more than we're supposed to. Does that make sense? Because now, if I'm rolled forward, the middle of it is pointing forward, and so that's the one I'm going to use more often. But now, if my shoulder is back correctly, I'm actually pretty weak, likely, in my anterior deltoid. So what this also forces us to do, this sort of like reverse grip, is it actually forces us to use the anterior deltoid for like the first time ever for many of us. And so you might find it like hilariously difficult to do this. So you'll notice here though, like, here I am, and I'm going to rotate just a bit so you can see this angle. But So not roll forward at the bottom. So like tight, using my serratus end here at the bottom. And then I'll just do these from the knees for a second to kind of show what that looks like. If you can, you can certainly do it from the feet, but to be honest, like, if it's a struggle for you to know whether or not you're kind of caving at the shoulders like this, then certainly just drop to your knees. There's zero shame in that. We're doing this correctly. Can I see a couple more, Sid? I didn't actually get a chance to see. Actually, if you wouldn't mind, could you position yourself 90 degrees? Thank you. Let's try. Don't even worry about let's go from the knees for now. I think that's probably going to be more sustainable for where we're at the moment.
Okay, so.
Okay.
Chest right to the ground.
What's up?
Chest right to the ground.
Let's look at your bottom position. If you want to just kind of stay at your bottom, okay, great. Stay at the bottom now. Now, do you feel right now like you are kind of letting that? Well, it's a bit hard because I'm actually going to position this one also down to the bottom as well. Well, do I really want that? I actually want. See, dude, this is why it's like. This is why people don't even really bother with it. They just use really very kind of cues like that are not very specific. So, are you here, or have you let yourself kind of drop? Are you using your serratus since you're at the bottom? Do you think?
Well, now I am.
Okay. Oh, yes. Yep.
Yeah.
The other thing as well is like slow declines can be really good, because what we can do is with a push-up it's going to be actually a lot easier at the top position to do this. The thing is when we're here, we may find when we're at the bottom, we may find that we don't feel like we have a lot of room. Like there's going to be a stretch in that front of the shoulder, and so it's easy to let that cave. But what we can do is get a good position in the top and slowly descend and see how long we can keep that serratus since you're engaged, such that I'm actually positioning my anterior deltoid, and that and it's gonna really feel a lot like you're working your anterior deltoid. It's freaking great because she moves properly. Alright, so I don't want to belabor us for too much longer, but this is a good start, I think, for our discussion around this movement. And I will continue. My brain will kind of sort of keep cycling about how I can teach this better, because it's not as intuitive, because it requires you to kind of feel what it feels like rather than just be told what it feels like,
Mm-hmm. Well, they feel activated right now.
Okay, awesome. Great. So, awesome. So here's what we're gonna do. I want to do one more kind of. I still want to do, and this is a little bit easier to teach. But what we're going to do is, you can see here with this AMRAP, we got single leg deadlifts, and then on this matching work, we got single leg bridges. So we're going to skip this Superman thing today. It's not quite as important. We will become Superman, I promise you. But we'll do a different movement. So what we're going to do right now is, I'm just going to do, first of all, okay, so what a bridge is pretty simple. I'm just going to go to the bottom here and come back up. I have pretty, my hips are, or my knees are about hip width, kind of I'm pressing up. I'm really only using the glutes here and potentially a bit my hamstrings, but even the hamstrings, I don't really want to be using them too much. This is really more on the glutes. So what we're gonna do is probably what we can do is a few of those 5 or 6 times, and then secondly, what I'm gonna do is actually is take one leg up, and I'm gonna do one-legged, one, two, and so there's a couple, and then I'm gonna reverse it with the other leg. And so what I want to do though is I'm actually, as you can see, I'm putting my hands here in front of me because this is going to serve as a tactile feedback of are my hips, is the right side of my hip and the left side of my hip, are they raising at the same level? And by putting my arms at the same level, I can kind of be sure that they're actually touching the same. This is important because a lot of people don't really have arm activation in a very good way, and so as a result, they deadlift or squat or clean and jerk or whatever, their hips are not really well activated, and a lot of people don't even really have very good glute activation in general. So what we'll do is a few of these on each side, probably 10 or so. And then I want you to just kind of notice to yourself, is one side easier than the other? So, if you do, for instance, 8 of each, 8 on each side, which one is easier for you? So you find, well, in a second when you're done, you have one that's more biased.
Wow, that's a good one.
Yeah. Which side is easier for you? Go harder.
When I use my and my right leg is the one planted, and I lift my left leg. That's easier.
That's easier. Okay, cool. Yeah, a lot of people, if you're right-handed, a lot of times you'll be dominant. But this is good, right? So when we can see these, like the glutes are a huge muscle group. So it's actually they're a very large driver in terms of the biomechanics. And so what's important is like when we discover these muscular imbalances, we want to keep track of them. They're going to be able to ideally, by reducing the variance between the sides of our bodies, reduce the likelihood that we're going to get injured. And so now what we're going to do is move to some weights. So actually, Sid, what you can do is grab potentially for yourself, I would say maybe if you want to just grab like a 20 and a 30 pound dumbbell and just bring them over to your place, that would be great. I'm going to start here as well. I'm going to just kind of start drawing, start making that thick. Yeah. So, and for anyone else as well, you can probably grab, it's going to feel relatively, you may find it feel difficult to do. So, if you're new to this, something like 20 or 30 pounds. If you're not as new to this, you can just grab like a 1.5 pound kettlebell, so like 50, 55 pounds. So just for demonstration purposes, I'll just do this. So here's what we're doing. It's a single leg deadlift, but it's an opposite grip. So there's a couple ways that you can do a single leg deadlift. One is the same side. I'm going to just kind of demonstrate that. So if I was to have this here, I'm going to kind of, hinge at the hips, and I'm going to just kind of go like this, right? So same leg, and this is also a balance thing as well. If you want to actually take your shoes off, that would be a good thing to do. And so I'll just do a few of those. Actually, it's probably good for everyone to just do a few single leg deadlifts with each one of their. Oh, you already got. You already have the one I was going to do eventually, which is yes, we're going to do the opposite. That's fine. But because what we're doing today is the opposite leg, right? So the opposite leg is going to help us because it forces us to basically stabilize contralaterally.
Oh yeah, I'm way less balanced on one side.
Yeah, and so you'll find that this is actually quite difficult with relatively lightweight. So if you're used to deadlifting 400 pounds, even something like 53 pounds kettlebells could be quite difficult for you. We're really loading up this hip, so we're going to feel, we're going to feel it in a lot of different places. What I want you to do as well is also focus on not letting the back, we're also trying to, I want to keep my shoulder in a good position as well, so not letting my shoulder slouch forward, just as we were doing before, right? Okay.
Wow, this is really good in the hamstring.
Yeah, dude, this is probably a good one for you because you're pretty quad dominant. A lot of people are. So, anyway, I'm actually going to change to the last one. I don't want to do actually V-ups. I want to do just sort of the hollow body rocks.
I'm just going to do 5 more on either side.
Okay, cool.
But I'm listening. Go ahead.
No worries, because we're ready to do the workout. Basically, what the workout is 15 minutes of, we're going to do 10 single leg deadlifts, and it's going to be 5 on either side. You can pick which side you want to do first. I would not alternate them just because it's going to be annoying to switch all every time. And if you want to alternate which side is first, that's really fine as well. And then we're going to do 10 inverse palm push-ups, right? So, basically, and the other interesting thing as well is when we do that, in general, when we're doing the palm kind of inverse like this, we have to position our hands lower. And so we're actually lifting more weight because we're lifting lower the hands are, the more the leverage basically means that we have that's going to be in our hands and not on our feet or our knees. So keep that in mind. So if you're used to doing things on your feet and you feel stupid for doing them on your knees, let that shit go. So yeah, we're going to be doing 10 of them, and so scale to whatever you're able to do, whether it's on your knees or your legs. 10 of those, and then for this last one, instead of V-ups, we're going to do 10 hollow body rocks. And so what that looks like is, we've done this before, so we're just going to go here. Basically, a hollow body position is I'm squeezing my glutes, I'm squeezing my abs, arms above head. 1, 2, 3. I'm not piking. This is not a pike. A pike would be kind of if I was flexing my hips. Look like because my glutes are squeezed, the only way I can squeeze my glutes is if my hip button. So I'm rounding my back, and this is going to have a lot of stability that we're going to generate here. If that's too difficult for you, you can have the arms down like this. So the most difficult scale is arms up. Secondly, having the arms come down. Thirdly, tucking the legs and doing something like this. Or maybe, tucking one leg at a time. And maybe you alternate with something like that. So any one of those scales is appropriate. So we're going to do 10 of each of them, and we'll do all of those for 15 minutes.
Yep.
Cool, man. Okay. And I'm
Fire it up.
Fire it up, sweet.
I'm ready when you are. So, just to be clear here, 10 one-legged deadlifts. So I'm gonna go like this So when I do 10, it's 10 on one side or 5 and 5?
5 and 5.
Got it.
Yeah.
And
really keeping in mind, am I letting my hip drop, right? Am I kind of is my hip kind of going like this or whatever? We want to ideally not drop too much, but we also don't want to have this be like, But anyway, so what we want to have is hips come down fully, like at the same time. And I'm not, as you can see, like I also struggle with this. I think one of the reasons why I'm programming this is because these are the types of things that, like, sure, I could back squat, 390 and do a Fran in 219, like 225, snatch, but I wasn't doing this type of stuff for many years, and so I'm getting back to this now, and I think it's important to start people here, so they don't have to backtrack like I did when I got into it. Cool. I'm just gonna set this timer up. You ready?
Yep.
Sweet. All right. So, putting a timer. It's gonna be a 15-minute timer. 5.
An inverse push-up, just to be clear, it's the ones we were just doing, the Supermans.
What do you mean, Superman?
Well, how is the inverse push-up different from the is it the same one we were doing to activate this serratus anterior?
The inverse push-up is simply, instead of palms like this, is inverse palm push-up is basically what I mean. Like, palms are here, not here. That's what I mean.
Like this. Like this.
Yes.
Okay. And then I just go. How's this form look?
1 second, I'm not looking at you at the moment.
Oh, got it.
I'm putting this timer on. Okay. Yeah, you want to do it again? Yeah, I mean that looks good. I think the one thing is you are going to be able to feel in yourself if this is activated more than I will be able to see it. But we don't want this. We want this. So as long as you're able to keep that up and down at the bottom and top, that's what I want you to focus on. If you can't get there, feel free to drop to your knees, and that's totally cool too. Sweet.
Got it.
Okay, we ready?
Yep.
You can see the timer, right?
Yep.
Cool. All right, we'll put this at the bottom of the screen. Music. Can you hear any music? Let's see here. What do we want? I'm gonna just do this little like electronic watch thing because I don't have as many ideas. Okay. Can you hear some of this? Well.
Yeah.
Can you hear this?
No.
No? Okay. I don't want to necessarily spend a ton of time on this.
No, we're good. We don't need you mean for music?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't need music. Crush it.
Okay, cool. All right, man. So here we are. We got 15 minutes on the clock. We're going to go for it in 3, 2, 1, go.
Whew. 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 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh. Oh. Ah. Ah. Oh. Oh. Four, 5. Ah. 2. Ah. 4, 5.
Good shot, Sid.
Oh. 2. 4. 5. Ah.
Good job, Sid. Over half done.
Thanks, pal. 4. Ah. Ah. Oh. Mm. Mm.
That's it. If you're able to reposition yourself into the awesome. If not, no worries.
Yeah. Ooh.
5 more minutes. You got it, man?
Yeah.
If it's too difficult, it's fine. Last 2 minutes. Here you go. Seconds.
Ah.
10 seconds.
Ah.
And done. Okay. Cool. How'd that go?
I got at least through 5 rounds.
Yeah. Nice.
6, I think 6. Just started my 6th.
Sweet. Yeah, I got 9 plus 10.
Nice.
So it's right. It's all, for me, it's all the deadlifts. 100% of it. Not 100%. Certainly some push-ups too.
Yeah, I got 6 plus 10.
The
That's what I got.
body rocks were a lot harder. Cool. So unfortunately, I am running out of battery.
Yeah.
I was hoping I was going to get this all done without being able to charge my phone. I'll just always do it. But what I would suggest that we do is, and I won't be able to do it because my cell phone's start dying, but so as a little cool down, do a couple Jefferson curls, side, or maybe even just kind of flop here, just kind of with the back here, having had a decent amount of pressure on it from different angles that we're not used to. Do something like this, and then I would also suggest kind of coming here to like a bar or something and just basically pulling down on it, as you've seen we've done in the past. So just kind of open up those as well. What you do also is the opposite way. Just kind of open up this anterior deltoid area. So those would be the 3 things that I would suggest that in order to kind of get the most out of this workout, we do. Got it?
Sounds good, buddy. We'll be back on Thursday.
Oh yeah, man. Sounds good. All right, we'll talk to you later. See ya.